This time on No, Not the Mind Probe, episode number 84, Remembrance of Who's Past.
Welcome to No, Not the Mind Probe.
Bro.
Trying to do John Hurt.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's a little more gruff.
If you take acting classes from him, that's what he just was like, do it again, but more gravelly. That's it.
I don't know if he smoked, but it sounds like he did. We'll never know because he passed away. But I suppose we could find out if he smoked. He didn't take the secret to his grave.
Because also he lived for 80 years and most of his life was filmed. So actually we could probably figure it out pretty easily.
He took that secret to his grave. But anyway.
He's dead. And
he's dead now. But what is not dead is the podcasting medium, which is what we're in here.
Great save.
Yeah, and because this is a pod, and it's not dead yet, this medium, but we're doing our best. But this is where we watch and rank every single Doctor Who story ever. My name is John Grant, and I am a lifelong Doctor Who fan. I have been watching it for 38 years.
And my name is Porter Mason. Briefly didn't know
really
my name.
Emphatic about it too. My name.
And I'm kind of more of a Johnny come lately, right? That's John.
Yeah.
But I'm Porter, and I'm a Johnny come lately.
Yeah.
So this whole Doctor Who.
And I'm more of a porter of Doctor Who things. I carry them around. It's confusing. Right. Everyone just get out a piece of paper and write it down.
John asked me for 26 years to watch Doctor Who. I said no. And then so it's 2.5 years ago, I finally started watching things. So I've been going through.
Happen.
Look,
a lot.
In the span, John's been doing this for 38 years. I've been mainlining Doctor Who for 2.5 years straight, and I'm a little on edge. All right, and I'm worried what's going to happen to Matt Smith and Clara.
It's just guys, and then I don't know. Okay, there's another one.
I never liked the Sylvester McCoy episodes, and then we're gonna watch one. I like Ace though, so I mean that's good. Anyway, we watch 2 stories every episode of this podcast. We go through the NuWho in order, or as we said, right at the end of the Matt Smith years. And then John, acting as sommelier, pairs a NuWho story with a classic story. John, big episode.
Yeah.
A big drink too. This is not the Probe-tini. This is
the Probe-grony. The Probe-grony. It's Probe-grony. Yeah. I can't do 2 martinis.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we record these back to back.
No.
Months apart. Yeah, folks.
Wait, months apart would imply that we started recording like 7 years ago. Record them months apart. And then
that's why Porter's wearing a Hillary for President t-shirt. He's like, hey, she's on it. She's got it, folks.
What could have been.
All right. Well, anyway, what we're going to do today, folks, is lean close to your radio receivers. We're going to watch the season finale of Matt Smith's final season. Now we're just like special land. But the season finale of Matt Smith's final season, a wild romp, I would say.
Which answers the question, what's the deal with Clara?
And ending in possibly, I would have to say, one of the biggest surprises in Doctor Who history. The name of the Doctor. And I've paired that because this reaches back, the name of the Doctor reaches back to the very beginning, right? There's some flashbacks to the very beginning of Doctor Who, and sort of, it gets into the origins a little bit and sort of all that. So I've paired that with a 7th Doctor story, the season opener of the 25th anniversary season, which also does that. And it is the 7th Doctor Ace and a whole lot of Daleks. More Daleks than you can shake a question mark umbrella at, in remembrance of the Daleks.
All right, we're going to recap these, and there's so much in these episodes. I'm going to try to give the reins to John as quick as possible. I'm sure there's a lot that I certainly missed. I'm sure these feel like both episodes that, in addition to rewatching them for this podcast, you have probably watched repeatedly.
Yes. I'm watching
right
Remembrance of the
back
Daleks out of the corner of my eye right,
right
now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we start off in a good place because we have Madame Vastra and her lady friend. Are they married?
Yeah, they're married. This is
Anyway.
my remember. I'm a lizard from the dawn of my time, and this is my wife.
My wife.
Yeah. Wait. You can't start there. You have to start with the cold open of flashback to Gallifrey, Clara talking to William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton running through a park. I mean, that's how it opens.
Yeah, that's great. No, yes, I was peppered throughout the whole show, and even
no, it's at the very beginning.
No, I know, but
one of the greatest cold opens ever.
That's true. I apologize. I think of that part where she's throughout the Doctor history.
It comes at the end too.
That end part is so big. The end part. Well, anyway, we'll get to that. Yes, great cold open.
Yeah,
definitely a surprise. And you're like, oh, okay, now we're finally getting to something.
Yeah, something's
definitely
happening.
So we should say what we don't know about Clara from the moment she's been introduced is this idea that the Doctor is like, who are you?
Yeah,
because
what's your
it doesn't
deal?
make sense. You keep appearing in my life and dying and saying these same words most of the time.
Yeah.
And he never figures it out. It also, though it is threaded through this season, the thread is often lost.
Lightly.
Or sometimes like it's threaded and it seems like there's a revelation and there isn't one, and then we just move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we really don't. That's all we know is that Clara seems to always be here. We don't know, but she seems to be who she says she is, or at least as far as she knows. Okay. So we are.
Now
we
you
have
Baxter and Jenny.
Yeah, and Strax and River, and they call each other. They do a little Zoom call. Using dreams, which is fascinating. This is like a throwaway thing.
Dream play. Yeah, this is another
they
classic.
Didn't do this before, did they?
Yeah, no. This is another classic Stephen Moffat thing where he has like a huge idea and just throws it away. It's like, oh yeah, they do that now.
And it's
they
it's
need
a great
dreamscape.
Right, and it's a great Stephen Moffat thing too, because they do this. They contact each other, which they can reach each other throughout time by doing this. But you have to be asleep, and meaning you're, to some extent defenseless. You're asleep. Yeah. So they're all talking. While they're talking, Jenny is killed.
Yeah,
people come in the room and kill.
And they're talking because remember they found out. Madame Vastra has found out a secret. The Doctor has a secret that he will take to his grave, and it is discovered.
And we find out, or are reminded, that River knows the Doctor's name.
Yeah.
We had already heard in a previous episode that he dies on Trenzalore. Yes.
Yes. Yep. Yes. That was a rhyme or something. Or at the end of the end of last season, it was mentioned by the guy, the head in the box.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we find is that it's the Whisper Men are who killed Jenny. Who are very creepy, very, very horror movie. And then we see the Great Intelligence again. So he's back. And he says to Clara that the Doctor needs to meet him in Trenzalore. And again, the Doctor's trying to avoid going to Trenzalore because that's where he dies.
Right. Yeah. And you don't want to see your grave when you're a time traveler. It's one thing you should avoid.
So,
he's very depressed about it.
He goes because he's a mensch, and he's,
I'm like, all right, let's go.
You say, "Where's your grave?" You look over, and there's an enormous mausoleum in what we think is in the shape of the TARDIS. He says, "No, that's the TARDIS."
Yep, that's it.
The bigger on the outside kind of reverts. I guess because the TARDIS sort of dies too.
Yeah, it breaks and the dimensions get mixed up or something.
Okay, so kind of just skipping through this, you can tell me more about the details. They're attacked. We go into the TARDIS. We see the thread of the Doctor's life.
That was his timeline.
Yeah, his timeline, which is a cool effect, and it looks like a nervous system essentially.
Yeah.
And we find River is the whole time kind of talking to Clara just telepathically.
Yeah, she's linked.
By the way, they have a thing at the beginning when they meet, sorry to interrupt, where there's like a little jealousy of like, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm the Doctor's wife. Well, I'm traveling with him now. Like there's a little
well, I think it was thing there. So Clara has clearly heard of River Song, so the Doctor at least talks about it. But then I think River Song drops that I'm his wife, and I think Clara's a little thrown by that.
And River's a little thrown that it's like he doesn't talk about her that much.
Yeah, he doesn't mention that I'm his wife. Yeah.
And she threads throughout that.
She's dead.
I mean, like, come on.
Yeah,
but she does mention repeatedly that he just kind of moved on from her death very quickly. But she says like that's what he does. He doesn't like goodbyes. She says that repeatedly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we find out that the doctor goes into his timeline. Is that what happens first?
No, Clara first. No, the Great Intelligence first. Great Intelligence is like, I'm going to
Great
go
Intelligence goes into the doctor's timeline
and kill you all the multiple times. Like, I'm going to kill you every time.
Right. And then last episode, we were talking about a Deus Ex Machina. Clara is herself a Deus Ex Machina.
Who's been there since the beginning.
Except that it was threaded 10 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And so we say like, well, the only way that this can be stopped is if someone does that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to dive in more about like how this works. It's just that
know.
it does make it all make sense, like in terms of what happened before, or at least it gives an explanation for why Clara has been there before. So she steps inside the timeline.
Yeah.
I will say that, first of all, it now makes her one of the most important people in the Doctor's life.
Yeah. Very big.
So like elevates her above really all the other companions. I mean, like
she's been constantly saving his life, apparently.
And she does it so immediately and willingly, and we still don't know that much about who she is. And she sort of has this zen-like thing of like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm supposed to do this. And I guess I buy it in the sense that the Doctor it's like almost like you're saving this great person like this. And so in some ways,
the universe, the stars are going out and all these other things. And I think that and Vastra's turning on Strax because they weren't friendly anymore and all. And it does.
Right. Sorry. As the Great Intelligence is in there, everything around the universe that the Doctor has helped preserve, save, fend off, it's all being reversed. So like John said, stars are literally blotting out of the sky. The Strax and Vastra forget they know each other.
Yeah.
And so, it's sort of a like it's not just for him; it's a sacrifice for the universe. But she's. I mean, just doesn't even hesitate. So she steps inside of the Doctor's timeline, and we see, and again, the sequence I was mentioning, which almost felt like it was going to be like, and now the Clara Chronicles. It's a new TV show that we're just going to spin off. It's like Quantum Leap, but only Clara and Doctor Who.
Indeed, if you'd put like a jazzy soundtrack over that, and then like Jenna Coleman as Clara, like it could have been the opening credits to a show.
Hi, I'm Clara. 3 years ago, I walked into the Doctor's timeline.
I just stepped into it and disappeared.
But it's pretty cool. We see her, and this is done in 2013.
Yeah.
We see her. Oh, we never played the clip.
Oh gosh, we didn't. We're so excited. I don't think
we did.
No, I don't think we did.
All right, we'll play it in a second.
We'll play it. Yeah, a second.
But
sorry, folks.
We're excited about this. But I thought, like, done 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like and a TV show, and it is the finale.
Yeah.
But like pretty cool effects that they inserted her in all these places. They did the costuming really well.
And you've got a colorized William Hartnell. I mean, they show her, and this is the big moment of like, and it's earlier than any moment we've seen in Doctor Who history, as him basically getting into the TARDIS to leave Gallifrey, and she shows up and she's like, you should take a different TARDIS. This one's better. You're going to have more, like, she directs him to a different TARDIS or whatever. It's like,
so again, she's huge. Like hugely important. So it's interesting. Okay. So this sort of solves this to some extent.
Yeah.
With the Great Intelligence. And then we come back and there's some talk about the Doctor's name, and she's helped the Doctor in all these places in time and space.
He goes to rescue her.
He goes to rescue her, and he saves her. And then there's another figure in the shadows. Why don't now I play the clip, right?
Play that clip, yeah.
Oops, I pressed the wrong thing.
We did that intentionally.
Who's that?
Never mind. Let's get back.
But who is he?
He's me. There's only me here, that's the point. Now let's get back.
But I never saw that one. I saw all of you. 11 faces, all of them are you. You're the 11th Doctor.
I said he was me. I never said he was the Doctor.
Oh, I don't understand.
My name, my real name. That is not the point. The name I chose is the Doctor. The name you choose, it's like a promise you make. He's the one who broke the promise. Clara? Clara? Clara! He is my secret.
What I did without choice.
I know.
In the name of peace and sanity.
But not in the name of the Doctor.
Yeah.
So, imagine that's a pretty big moment because A, you're like, wait, so is this going to be the next Doctor?
Yeah.
but even though
Wait,
there's no
who is this?
regeneration, but you're like, maybe William Hurt's going to be the Doctor for a
John
series.
Hurt. William Hurt is
sorry.
different.
But maybe that's what you're thinking, is maybe William Hurt is going to be.
Like, what, did they get John Hurt to regenerate into William Hurt? Because that would be amazing.
Long way to go for a pun, but I think it's great that they did it. Yeah, no, I mean, like, is he going to be the Doctor?
Well, you get I do love the on screen, like he turns around and it frames John Hurt, and then like they're kind of like, yeah, we really need to make sure we land this point. So it's like introducing John Hurt as the Doctor. It's like, do you get it, everybody? We got John Hurt. I have watched.
It says as the Doctor or as the War
as
Doctor?
As the Doctor. There is a very funny, or there's a good one of the reaction videos that I do enjoy watching. They were watching it, and this came on, and one of the people goes, "Why'd they put the thing on the screen like that?" And one of the guys goes, "Because when you get John Hurt, you put it on the screen." Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, this was a surprise. So we didn't know. If you stayed spoiler free, and I'm not sure even if you didn't stay if you tried to find spoilers, I think this was kept incredibly secret because it was a shock, like that no one knew they'd cast John Hurt in anything. It was still, when was this? You said May, I think, or something. It was a while.
The 18th of May, 2013.
Yeah, so it was a while before the 50th anniversary. We didn't know anything about it, even what it was going to be called or anything else about it. And I think this came out of everybody was shocked. Like the front page of the New York Times just said "Gaga ga gooey." I mean, that was the headline.
So the next episode that we're going to do, The Day of the Doctor, doesn't come out for 6 months.
Yeah, it was November. Yeah, the anniversary.
Wow.
So there was a lot of
that would be crazy.
There was a lot of time for speculation, and we didn't. So they didn't explain anything. It came as a total surprise, and so there was a lot of discussion. First of all, well, all right, he's the Doctor, because they wouldn't have put that on the screen if he wasn't. But which Doctor is he? What Doctor is he? Where did he come from? So yeah, could he be a future Doctor? Could he be a different universe Doctor? Could he? And then we'll find out in the next episode where he comes into this, but. It was a very huge mystery, like a huge shock moment. I think I read an interview with Stephen Moffat where he was writing it, and we'll talk about this in the next one about sort of why he had to do it. But he was writing it, and he wrote the scene, and he's like, and then it turns around, and it's the biggest actor in the world. It was all he had. It was like whoever it is, and then they cast John Hurt, who is probably a bigger British actor than American actor, but he's won an Oscar. Like he was a very big actor, and certainly everybody had seen him in various things and heard of him, and he's been around forever and obviously a very distinct voice. So yes, this was and again, nobody knew it was happening. I think we obviously knew this was going to gear up for the 50th. Something exciting was going to happen with this episode. A lot of people thought, I think this is so dumb. I'm sorry, Vince, but a lot of people thought it's called The Name of the Doctor. We're leading up to the 50th anniversary, so they're going to tell us the name of the Doctor. Like we're going to find out his name.
They had the scenes at the beginning that I thought they were going to get at it, like.
But it's just like, what could it be? What is it going to be? It's Eric. And
No, that's the thing. I was actually worried that was part of it, because I was like, what could his name be that would not be disappointing?
Steve or like
Jala Ringo.
It's like, there's just no way. So I don't know why people thought it was going to be. This is, of course, Stephen Moffat wrote this. This has the amazing cold open. It's a very sprawling story. The Great Intelligence is in it for some reason. Remember, the Great Intelligence is set up as sort of an arcing like enemy for the season. Like they appeared in the first one, and we never talked about him again. Why this is the Great Intelligence's plan? I mean, sure, the Doctor's defeated him, but anyway, how this works out is
Clara just like defeats him. Like it's just done.
Immediately defeats it. And then also it's made a big deal about like, oh, I shouldn't be anywhere near my own timeline. And then he just goes into his own timeline to rescue Clara. Which is, where does he go? He ends up in like a mysterious place, and there's like other versions of himself wandering around, and obviously this, John Hurt, to make the big line here.
This idiot.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, where is he? And then apparently he's just very easily able to get out, because it's never addressed. Like this episode ends, and then we pick up the Day of the Doctor, and it started like everything's back to normal. They're just hanging out, doing stuff, and so it was like this huge setup to get to this point. But I don't think Stephen Moffat ever finished telling this story. It's like, wait, what happened? What happened? It was just enough to introduce us to John Hurt. It's a confusing ending.
Like plotline, which obviously culminating in this. Feels like there were like 3 or 4 episodes that just got left out, or they couldn't quite figure out, or I don't know. Like
there could have been, there could have been a little bit more to
because I
set
think
up
the Great
something about.
Intelligence is an interesting villain.
Yeah, right. I mean, could certainly be, and like there's definitely more background to give there because we still don't know a ton about the Great Intelligence. That could be an interesting one, and. Yeah, you could do more of like the Doctor suddenly remembering like, oh, I saw Clara in the wheel in space. Something like, I mean, like, she was, wait a second, I think I do remember her. Or like, so, I mean, obviously people want to reference the wheel in space because that's a huge episode that people love.
See last episode.
If you're just coming to see the special, the big episode ones, go back to our last wheel in space corker of an episode, as they call it. And it's. It is a lovely appearance in the Paternoster gang again. Strax, Jenny, and Madame Vastra. They're great. It's nice to see River back. You do get that very nice scene of I can always see you, even though again, how that makes 100% of sense is not clear to me.
They have some more closure because,
and this is post. I mean, this is the first time we've seen River post in the computer thing, right? She's dead here. This is like the end of her timeline. So that's kind of interesting to see. And but I've seen this several times, and I wish I understood. That how they get out of it. But again, as a series of surprises from that beginning sequence of her with all the old doctors, to the revelation of John Hurt as the Doctor. Pretty amazing.
Some pretty big swings by Moffat to say, like, by the way, Clara is now threaded throughout the entire history of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And also...
so I've basically written all of those episodes, too. So he now owns all of the old episodes of Doctor Who. That's,
you know what it feels like? And I know he did write the 50th anniversary episodes, but by the War Doctor showing up, it feels very much like that last episode of The West Wing that Sorkin did before he left, where he's like, and then everyone's kidnapped and all these people die. Goodbye. Good luck figuring that out. Like, it feels like you could kind of go there. Well, let us go to our classic episode, which is, a big deal too.
Mm-hmm.
This is Remembrance of the Daleks. So, picture it, Sicily, in 1938. Season 25, the first story of season 25. Big deal. How many more seasons did we last? 27 or 26?
26. So it's only one more after this.
Only one more.
Yep. So this is the big opening.
Big deal.
Big anniversary season, right? 25th silver anniversary. Yeah,
Dalek story.
People are excited.
Ace is awesome, and
and we got some Davros in here, which is where the sound clip, because if you I love my Davros ranting. I sleep. I go to sleep at night to just recordings on a loop of Davros screaming.
It was
Mike.
It was it was aired on October 5th through the 26th, 1988, 4 episodes, and but it's set in 1963. We'll find out more about that.
Wait, what?
Let us hear a clip that John has prepared for us now.
Does it worry you, Doctor, that with it I will transform Scaro's son into a source of unimaginable power? And with that power at my disposal, the Daleks shall sweep away Gallifrey and its impotent quorum of Time Lords. The Daleks shall become Lords of Time. We shall become all
powerful, crush the lesser races, conquer the galaxy, unimaginable power, unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc. Oh, wonderful, what power, what brilliance. You can wipe out the odd civilization, enslave the occasional culture, but you still won't detract from the basic fundamental truth of your own impotence.
Careful, Doctor.
I will teach you the folly of your words, Doctor. I will destroy you and demonstrate the power of the Daleks.
It's so much. It's so much.
I have so many Zoom meetings that basically go like that, though. It's just screaming back and forth. Yes, I that's another in my pantheon of phrases from Doctor Who that I would like to work into casual conversations. I will teach you the folly of your words is a good one. Like I always wanted to give that to. Like,
I also love how he emphasizes the OR in Doctor.
Doctor.
All right. Well, we have the Seventh Doctor.
Yep.
Not my favorite.
Not your favorite? No.
And Ace, maybe one of my favorites. Love Ace.
Yep. She's got a lot to do this one. This is one of her favorite episodes, Sophie.
Yeah, she's pretty cool in this. Yeah, she's a cool, she's a cool like kind of punk girl from the 80s.
Yep. Who doesn't swear, smoke, or do drugs, but she's cool and punk.
I know. She really should smoke and probably do drugs.
Yep.
But she's also like a mechanic. Like
she knows how to do some stuff, and she's got a baseball bat. She's got I love the ghetto blaster at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
The giant
Now, here's a thing I'll say to those who haven't watched a lot of classic episodes and have maybe heard I want to watch
those not watch episode.
Those not watch. No, maybe you watch the NuWho and you're like, I want to check out some of the classic episodes. This is maybe a fan favorite. Here's the thing. I'll tell you right off the bat from this episode, because you're going to notice it right off the bat. The episode's good. The music is just rough.
It's 80s.
It's of its time, and
there's clearly someone with a synthesizer and a drum pad, and just like going ding ding ding.
And it is not timeless. Like it is, and it takes you out of it. I would say a lot because it's a very good episode, but like it really takes you out of it.
Yeah, it's very 80s.
Fortunately,
very 80s.
So okay. They conveniently need to try.
It's too bad. It's good they edited out there was a whole Doctor shredding the guitar on a solo. They cut that out so that would have even dated it even.
And drinking New Coke and all these things. So Seventh Doctor and Eighth, they arrive conveniently. They need to do stuff in England in the 60s. So like it works out well.
He's in control. He knows what he's doing.
Works out well for BBC Wales. This is what it works out well for. They meet some military folks who really seem like UNIT, but they're not. Or are they? Like
they're not, but it is later established in the novelization and later on that they're precursors to UNIT. And there actually was a line apparently cut from the episode that would have mentioned like Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart there's a new Gilmore is going to retire, and is this new guy coming in, Lethbridge Stewart, who's going to
because he calls him the brigadier at one point, and then
by mistake, he's like, oh, sorry, the group captain. Oh, sorry, yeah. At
any rate, so there's the group captain, and then there's Sergeant Smith,
Mike Smith,
and he and Ace have a little romantic thing going on,
little vibing,
nice young bloke,
say. Yeah,
and
too bad he's a Nazi, nice young Nazi.
He is a fascist, yes. And they're tracking some stuff. It's tied to a Dalek ship that's nearby. And then we find that there's another signal coming from another nearby Dalek. So Ace, this could have been the clip that you had, but Ace so eloquently describes the two Dalek factions as there's one blobby guys who have like crowns on, and then the other blobby guys that don't have crowns on. And obviously they don't like each other. So we have
their blobbiness.
We have the Imperial Daleks who recognize the Emperor and are very, they hold up their pinkies when they drink their flagons of mead. And then we have the Renegade Daleks, who are kind of the cool Daleks.
Yeah, they're definitely bad.
They have leather jackets on.
There's a black Dalek, and he's
they're always like flicking their cigarettes and snubbing them out with their toes. And they control the junkyard, which is pretty funny. They reject.
Well, that junkyard is Totter's Lane, which is that is where Barbara and Ian met the first Doctor all the way back on Unearthly Child. Yeah.
Which would have been 1965, right?
63. No, it was 63.
63.
This is technically set during the and then you have the wonderful moment, which is where, and talking when I get meta. Ace is at Mike's house, and she's bored and watching around. She turns the TV on, and it's like it's got the test pattern river because they're about to go to a show, and then you hear it go, and now it's time for the new science fiction space series, Doctor, and then it just cuts off.
That's cute. I did not know.
It's supposed to be November 1963. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about that a little. First of all, so Ace suddenly becomes like a kept woman, like in the course of 5 minutes, I feel like, where she's staying with Smith, with Mike, and then they're just immediately like, okay, dear, you stay here. And the Doctor's treating her like that too. It was a little odd to me.
It was a little weird. He's trying to keep her out of trouble, but she immediately gets in trouble. And goes to school and has the great moment where she fights a Dalek, which is One of
awesome.
Sophie Aldred's famous moments. She loves it, and she's like,
Yeah.
she takes on a Dalek with a baseball bat. Pretty
No,
cool.
I mean, I guess I was glad that they did it so that she could rebel out of it, but it seemed odd to me that the doctor was like doing
Yeah,
it. It was
just go
shades
along with
of that. I forget which doctor it was who was always like, maybe the third doctor is always like, let's just stay here.
Yeah. Third Doctor's a little bit of a chauvinist. Yeah.
So okay, they're both of these Dalek factions are looking for the Hand of Omega, which is a great name for something. If you're going to name something that.
Well, Omega, remember it from the Three Doctors, right? So it's a reference to, remember the shouty guy from really screaming guy a lot in the Three Doctors.
Yeah.
That's Omega. Yeah, so that's him.
What does it do? The Hand of Omega.
It's a remote stellar manipulator. Duh.
So you just like turn on supernovas.
So
and
I think it goes into the star and like rewires them, and I think it does make supernovas. Yeah, I think
it rolls under the star. It's like, yeah. Well, your problem here is
what you got here.
your hydrogen's turning into helium too early on in the core. You're gonna have to want to reverse this. You get too much iron down here.
Yeah, you've had some real cowboys in here.
Well, anyway, we end up with some. I want to hear more about this from you, but we end up with some back and forth here, where the doctor is hiding the hand somewhere. Then they end up finding it. We realize that the doctor is actually leading them toward getting it.
Right,
he wants them to have the
Imperial
hand.
Daleks to have it. Yes.
Right. They defeat the renegades, but he wants them to get it because they're going to take it back and go to Skaro, and then
they're going to turn they're going to turn Staros into an energy source with it. Yeah.
And so when Davros then and then we have the whole scene with Davros that you just played. I like that I don't know. It's funny to me that they revealed that as like, but it's Davros. It's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Well,
like,
but there's the head fake because there's the girl in the battle computer in the earlier scenes. Remember the little girl that's the renegade?
Yes.
And so that's a head fake designed because you think it's Davros, right? Because it's a little person in a chair, and you don't see the front of it. And the voice was even deliberately done to sound a little bit like Davros. And then it's like turns around, it's a little girl instead, and you're like, oh, what? Maybe no Davros. And then he pops out of the Emperor Dalek. It's a little bit of a misdirect. The
moment early on in the first episode with the little girl where she's singing the rhyme about the doctor.
Yeah,
I thought that was a very modern Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Conceit.
Little creepy,
yeah, totally. It reminded me very much of like a Stephen Moffat or even Russell T Davies, but they do that kind of a thing later. So I was like, oh, this kind of like set up some of that stuff. Like,
and it's the one place where the music is not bad because it's got like a little nursery rhyme kind of ding ding ding. Yeah,
yes, exactly. Okay, so they use the hand. Skaro's son goes supernova, which, by the way, it does destroy Skaro, so the Daleks are gone forever. We never hear from them again, of course. So
this was it for them. Yeah.
But when a star goes supernova, it does a lot more than destroy the planet around it. That destroyed like a huge part of that galaxy.
Sure, it's fine.
Anyway, the hand somehow immediately gets back to God. I guess that's part of what it does, but it
flies back. Yeah.
Goes home. Okay. Yeah. So we've along the way,
escapes. Davros jets out. He's like, "Woo!"
Thank goodness.
Yep. Yeah.
On the way, unfortunately, and we've all had this happen. You start dating a guy, and he ends up being a fascist. Well, it happened. But so we find out Mike Smith is part of this other rebel group called the Association, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And they're whatever. They're essentially Nazis.
Guys. Yeah. All right.
And
help the Daleks.
So Ace is not happy about that. And then he captures her and is gonna, is threatening to kill her. So then the girl finds them, and then the girl kills Smith.
Yeah.
Which I thought
he stole the time controller, so she was mad at him for doing that because they were going to get out with the time controller. Which I love that the time controller is just one of those globes that you used to get. You could get in like days your hair.
Van der Waal,
But I think the special effect there is that she's manipulating it several times, and her hair isn't all sticking up. That took millions of dollars. I'm told that took millions of dollars in a green screen to get done, right? Yeah, because those things usually make your hair stand up.
Well, anyway, timely for Ace, not Van der Waal. Van der Waal forces are the minuscule forces that attract and reflect atoms from one another.
I didn't want to embarrass you by saying anything.
Oh yeah. Okay. So then when the Supreme Dalek or when Davros is killed, the girl like snaps out of it. At that point.
Right.
and there we are. But yeah, a great. Oh, and then I love the line at the end where he says, "Time will tell."
Always does. Yeah,
That's
it's a
big.
good.
By the way, a lot of people die in this episode, but Smith gets a big funeral. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, everybody else is fine. Yeah, this is the season 25 premiere, and I gotta context set this a little bit. So what you have seen before this is Time in the Rani, which is the first Seventh Doctor one.
Oof. Yeah.
Paradise Towers, which is the one set in the high rise.
Yikes.
Delta and the Bannerman, which is fun but not great, and then Dragonfire, which is
is fun, but like a completely different tone than this. This is
So
very much
then-
like a third Doctor kind of
right. So then this goes. So that's what you've got, and then Doctor Who goes off the air for however many months.
I haven't seen Dragonfire.
Yes, yeah, it's the one with on Ice World. It's the last Mel one.
Oh, okay.
And then
Yes,
Ace comes on board.
okay.
So yeah, so you've seen that whole season. So that ends, and then you wait about 9 months here, or whatever, and then this. Which so you got to be like it's Doctor Who's kind of fading. There aren't a lot of people watching and stuff like that. So you got a few like diehard fans who are like
before that you had the whole Trial of a Time Lord.
Trial of Time of 6 Stars. Like so there's a whole like bunch of fans are probably like sort of drifting away or whatever. Then the few diehards who are still watching up, like then they just blast this at you, and it's just like wait, what? Like, I mean, it is very special effects heavy, pacey, strong story, and so I have to think this. Again, I didn't see these in order.
A lot of hope.
This must have blown people away, and I'm sure. And I think there were probably people who were like, "Wait, what? What was that? The same Doctor Who?" Many things.
Plus, Ace is great companion, and
Ace is great, and the Seventh Doctor's been completely retooled, right?
Yes, he's very funny, engaging.
Yeah, and he's like a master manipulator. Like, I mean, he knows what's going on the whole time here, right? This is all a master plan of his that's been going on. It's implied it's been going on since the first Doctor story, right? That the reason he's on Earth on the unearthly child is to hide the hand of Omega. So it's implied that this is going on from the very beginning. And so there's even more. At one point, he's telling Ace the story of the Hand of Omega, and he says, "Oh, yes, it was Rassilon and Omega," and he's like, "And didn't we have trouble with the prototype?" And she's like, "We," and he goes, "They." And so they start. This is because the Cartmel master plan we talked about a little bit before. This is the script editor. They start to imply that the Doctor is a much more significant figure in Doctor Who history, in Gallifrey history or whatever, than we've ever known. So that's hinted at here. You have this is written by Ben Aronovich, who wrote Battlefield as well, which is the Brigadier one later in the season. This is the first thing he ever wrote for Doctor Who. He became a very popular science fiction writer, like novelist and stuff like that, and is still sort of a big Doctor Who fan. Obviously knocks this one out of the park. Credit to Andrew Morgan, the director, who does a very good job here as well. All filmed on location. So many Daleks. I mean, like, I don't know, there's like 7 or 8 Daleks, which is impressive in things. They land a spaceship in a schoolyard, which was not a model. Like, it's clearly they had like a full-size like little shuttlecraft and a crane, and they landed. And clearly the pyrotechnics guys having a blast because I mean, there are so many explosions. You got there's a lovely little side scene with in the cafe with the Doctor talking. You mentioned this in the Jamaican guy, right, in the cafe, and they're having a conversation about ripples and stuff like that. That is the butler from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That is the same. I remember the butler,
wow.
Jeffrey, I think was his name or something like that. Yeah, he was Tim. I remember watching it and being like, I think it's the butler from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
He just looked familiar to me, but I couldn't place it. Yeah.
I was like, am I thinking all black people with British accents look the same? But then I looked up, I was like, nope, safe. I'm on board here. It has a great. That cold opening is great, which has never been done in Doctor Who, except actually the Time in the Rani had a cold one. So obviously they were like, yeah, let's build on that success. But it opens with the Earth pulling back with the Kennedy speech. And that
was very cool.
And then the Dalek ship coming in, and then it goes to the credits. Like it's just like it is really a moment of Doctor Who just being like, look what we can still do on no budget. Like, it's not like they got a huge infusion of cash or something like that. There's just no budget. Also, you got to call out the special weapons Dalek, which is a giant cannon on a Dalek base, which blows everything up.
But so that's all true. Did it make much of an impact? Like, did it turn the ratings around much?
I mean, I'm not sure if it's I don't know, right? I mean, I obviously didn't save the show. It went on for another season after this. I think what it did was, certainly for a lot of fans, and it probably for the BBC even or others, is it said this can still work, right? I mean, it's definitely a moment of like, hey, this can still actually work, everybody. Like, we could still make really strong Doctor Who on a budget, and it's interesting and dynamic and all that kind of stuff. And I think that I think that was valuable to see, right? I mean, seeing, you know, the BBC rested it. They never fully canceled Doctor Who, and they were always sort of actively developing it, even right, up through the movie with Paul McGann and other things. So I think, but I think this is sort of a thing of like, yeah, look, it's still good. It's still got it. They can still throw one over the plate. If they're given a little opportunity to do so, and the right creative people behind it. And this is definitely considered an all-time classic, Seventh Doctor.
Once there was a theme to get back homeward. Once there was a theme to get back home. Sleep, pretty doctor, do not cry, for I will sing a lullaby.
Sorry, as a gay man, I just heard once there was a theme, I was petrified.
So we'll save that. We're going to use that for a
Themes
future
will survive.
use that in a future one. We are adherents to the repeating themes here on No Not the Mind Probe. We like to look at things and ideas and people that are threaded through the very fabric of space and time in Doctor Who. John, what did you want to talk about for this couple episodes? Stories.
I know we've been exuberant, we've been happy. These are good episodes, but now we got to go to a dark place. Now we got to talk about retconning. Let's talk about retconning, retroactive continuitying. Probably
that's probably what it stands for. Yeah,
because both of these stories kind of do it. You get the name of the Doctor, obviously going back and saying, hey, the reason they picked this TARDIS, Clara, the reason he survived, and any number of circumstances, Clara, right? Changing, now he's got this guardian angel, sort of, who was part of everything that, has happened to him before. Obviously, Remembrance of the Daleks. Hey, remember in 1963 when we thought he was just hanging out and sending his daughter to school?
He wasn't.
Yeah.
We knew the whole time that he was, yeah.
And a big flaw in this one a little bit is
and by the way, and remember during that story where he seemed to not really know what he was doing. He did. He was just really playing it cool.
And unfortunately, the very next story, they meet the Daleks for what is clearly the first time that the Doctor has ever met the Daleks. So he must have been, maybe he was laying it as like a general trap. He was like, at some point this is going to come in handy, everybody. Somebody's going to come for this. But yes, now creating sort of this meaning to those earlier stories. Retconning is a thing that happens a lot in sci-fi and in different places.
I feel like Doctor Who sort of revels in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just saying, right, this thing, as we're going to discover with the John Hurt Doctor, an even bigger retcon, right? Like, folks, Porter's watched the next episode.
Yeah.
There was another Doctor we didn't know about.
Right.
That's a huge retcon, right? So what do we think about it? Is there any reason to be faithful to the past, or to not, that is somehow sacrosanct? You should touch that, or does it not? Does it not matter? You should just tell a good story, and occasionally it's fun to reference things in the past and maybe give them greater meaning, and that's great. We should do that.
And I would say, like, what part of it depends on how much the initial people intended, like, were they leaving kind of Easter eggs to be found later, even if they didn't know exactly how, but were they sort of like, kind of add this in, maybe it can be expanded on later, or like, there's no way that they could have known that, but they wouldn't have known that it would have been going 25 in the case of Remembrance of the Daleks, 25 years later, in the case of, I guess, in the Name of the Doctor, 70 years later or whatever it is.
Well, it's a great Stephen Moffat had a great thing as they were building up to the 50th anniversary, and people were like, so what are you going to do for the 50th anniversary story? And he just goes, I'm just following the outline that Verity Lambert left when she produced the first episode. When you get to 50, here's what you do.
Right.
It was
it's
very
all
funny
falling into place. Yeah. Well, I think it's like fun to make. It's always fun for something that ends up going. I think if it goes on a certain length of time, you're like, hey, let's throw back something to the beginning because that'll seem fun. Having done, for example, improv for a while, I would do what was called long form improv, and we would do these shows where you're improvising the whole show, and the set would run anywhere between, like, easily run 30 minutes, sometimes longer, but definitely run 30 minutes. Anyway,
up to 48 hours, folks.
up to 48
A
hours.
lot of people.
And one
well,
of the
a lot of
things,
people didn't go to Porter shows.
exactly. And one of the things that, without fail, audiences would love, and you would love to do and find, is that you'd say there'd be some scenes at the beginning of the show, you'd go in different directions, and then near the end of the show, you'd say something or have some moment in a scene that unexpectedly tied things together in a way that was like completely unexpected, because often the different scenes in the show, it wasn't like you were doing different beats of the same story. You would do completely disconnected things. And then at the end, if you would tie some or all of the things together, it would always get this huge reaction. You'd feel really like, when it would occur to you on stage when that happened, you'd be like, oh my God, like unintentionally, like this. It was always like this big crowd pleasing thing. So I think when you find those things, I would imagine, in a TV show and write things back, it's for the fan of that show, like it's candy to you. Like, and like I think we've said on previous episodes, it's like, hey nerd, you're getting rewarded for remembering this. Like, you're getting a reward.
You made it. Yep.
I think when it becomes super, I know that's different than retconning. That's just like making a connection, but because I think retconning is, I guess,
retconning is like changing.
I guess it is retroactive continuity.
Yeah,
that is
changing
retroactive
the
continuity.
significance of something
Significance of it,
that
yes.
happened. Yeah, it's like,
So,
it's not just, hey, this happened. Remember this happened in the past. It's like, this happened because of something that's happening now, or I'm now giving a reason that this happened that you didn't know about when you first saw it. Yeah.
So I think, luckily for Doctor Who, or maybe by design at a certain point, again, not in the first episode, but like at some point, it is just like made for retconning, because it kind of doesn't matter. Anything you could do, you could always do later, and it will never fall in on itself, because it's all kind of ridiculous. Like, it's time travel. And so, like, sure, anything could be true. Like, it doesn't matter. Whereas if you went back and picked a scene from, I don't know, the first Star Wars movie, and then been like, but actually what you didn't see is tucked behind Luke's chair was this book. And then it's like, you'd feel you'd get that feeling that we've talked about too in past TV shows, where you want to solve the mystery of the TV show on like a mystery show. But if the solution to the mystery is something that it's like, and then here's a fact that no one could have known, you're like, oh, well then how would I have ever even solved this? I couldn't have solved this, because you retroactively decided something about that moment that was unknowable. So I think it really depends on kind of the tone of the show. And with a certain tone of the show, it has to feel really planned, or else it feels bad. Whereas in Doctor Who, it can feel totally planned, and then that's great and a cool magic trick. But if they're also, like in this one, just like, hey, we're going to make this like it was a big thing, and we'll just do that, it feels totally fine, because it's like, this show's been running for 70 years. Like, it's
right. You can only be so slavish to continuity and stuff like that. I think the criticism I hear from, and maybe it's the thing about rewatchability too, is that, and as a person who, I have occasionally rewatched an episode or two of Doctor Who.
That's a big admission.
Yeah,
thank you for getting that out there.
But some fans seem to be like, well, now I can't watch those episodes again because now they've ruined it, because I know that that's the thing behind it, or something. Especially if they don't like a retcon or something like that. It's just kind of like, I don't think about, like, I don't watch Unearthly Child and be like, did he just leave the hand of Omega there when he wandered into the junkyard absentmindedly?
Right. I think for Doctor Who, the fun of it is that you could be like, ooh, I want to watch Unearthly Child and see how that holds together. Yeah. And if it does or it doesn't, totally, it's fine. Either way, it's fine.
You're not gonna be like, oh man, like, maybe again, there is that forgiveness of like, well, it has been on for 60 years. It's not going to be airtight anymore.
I guess that's the thing. Exactly. Like,
they've been trying to tell the same story for 60 years.
Exactly. There's no way that's true. So it's more of just like, oh, they tried to pull this clever trick. Let's see how well it worked. Whereas in a certain story, you might be like, you might be thinking, oh, this either has to feel like they really planned this, or I hate it. Like, but with this, it's like, there's no way they could have. So, like, who could possibly say?
Yeah, and it's a neat idea. It works, and it doesn't. I think the other thing it has to be is like, well, that's maybe why like something like the Remembrance of the Daleks one is controversial. Is it's like, does it just kind of slot in neatly to something that happened before, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, or does it somehow fundamentally alter the entire series? Right? It does somehow, and it's like, nah, he was there, he was doing a plan, and then he forgot about it for several regenerations.
The Clara thing potentially does, right?
Yeah. Although that one
I
is
don't
sort
know.
of like, I mean, I guess the Clara thing is sort of like, because the great intelligence messed everything up, she's basically canceling out the great intelligence work. If they'd have been like, for whatever reason, she'd just gone into his timeline and been like, I'll fix everything. Like, you would have died if it weren't for me, right? If they'd been like, it wasn't,
Right.
it's like the only reason everything happened in the past was because Clara was there to fix it. That might not be so great. But this is going to be like, oh no, she's actually just canceling out the bad thing that someone else did.
But
So
it is kind of
maybe that
funny
works.
because, like, okay, so she's an extremely important companion now. Let's take her companion so far. Rose obviously is just the most important thing in all of the universe forever.
Yeah.
And then Amy is, I thought the way they treat Amy is really interesting to me because the doctor clearly talks about her as like so important, whatever, but she does a lot of important things, but I mean, like, she doesn't do anything like this level necessarily.
Yeah, not nonsense of it. Yeah.
Although
Sarah
I guess she
Jane.
gives birth to his wife. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess
that's true.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, we've all.
Well,
had
at any
that
rate, so
happen.
she's super important.
Yeah.
Clara, poor Martha. And then Donna's just like, yeah, she's great. Like, she's fine, but like, she didn't really do anything. But like, Martha really gets shit on.
You just see Martha like outside of Trenzlore's grave with like a little cake she baked by herself. She's like, I made a
made
cake.
this myself. Everybody said that we were going to meet here. Is everyone gone already? Yeah. All right.
We just retconned Martha into that episode. She's outside of the cake.
She's still waiting at Trenzlore.
They said they'd be back in 5 minutes.
And like her fiance is there with her. Like, I told you we shouldn't have come. I told you we shouldn't have come.
You said these people were your friends. No, they are. They know
are
me.
my friends.
They know me.
All right. Look,
all right,
there are
let's get
300
serious,
Doctor
folks.
Who stories. We have ranked 164 of them. 166. I'm sorry.
We've done that.
And
we
you know
did
what?
that.
Let's rank 2 more.
Let's do it.
It's a nice day. Let's rank 2 more. Okay. Name of the Doctor. Definitely high up for me. I enjoyed it. But it wasn't my favorite of all time because I felt that some of the moments, and maybe it was some of the things with like the great intelligence, like I thought it was really cool, but felt like this wasn't executed as cleanly as it could have been. So I have pretty high. I have it on 26. I have it right by The Girl Who Waited because it felt very similar to me of like, yeah, these are both good moments, nice continuity moments, but not as solid as some of the other things.
Yep.
So like plane was landed, but a little bumpy on the way down.
Yeah.
I don't
Did
know.
a couple loop-de-loops in the air. Yeah.
Remembrance of the Daleks, I will say, it was my favorite 7th Doctor story. But I just really don't like the 7th Doctor stories. So it's not as high. I was looking in Wikipedia as you were talking about it, and as you say, like in many of the rankings that have been done since,
it's considered one of the greatest ever.
It's in the top 10, top 20, all that.
Yeah.
I don't have it that. I have it as 50. I have it high, but
high for
and it's way higher than my other 7 Doctor stories, which are all past 100, I believe. I haven't seen all of them, but I did check, and we have seen quite a bit of the 7 Doctor stories.
Yeah, there's not much left. Yeah, we've only got a few more to go, really.
But anyway, I have it ranked 50, right by, we were talking about last week, the last episode, rather, the Doctor's Wife, which I also wasn't that crazy about. But so apparently these 2 episodes that everyone really likes, I have lower down. I have it right below the Cold War, which I really liked. Anyway, Remembrance of the Daleks, number 50 on my list with a bullet.
Nice. Yeah, these are both high for me. Name of the Doctor coming in at number 19. I agree. It's a bit messy in the middle. I'm not, and I've watched it several times and still not 100% sure how. Again, it just feels like there was a storyline that got abandoned. It's like, I need to get to introducing John Hurt as the Doctor. I got a storyline to get me there, and they're in something, and they'll be fine. Still, they get out. They get out. It's just a caption at the end, and then they get out.
But I like, and I would say also the idea of the timeline is I don't know if they ever return to it, but it's kind of interesting.
It's a cool idea. It just doesn't quite, but on the strength of that opening sequence, and then the surprise ending, it rockets up for me at number 19, just because.
And you're still holding out for the Clara Chronicles spinoff.
Yes. But a solid story, and again, I think we're the next 3 of the Matt Smith stories are event stories. And so this is definitely a solid. I mean, I think I'm giving it, and I'm going to give rankings on these as sort of the strength of it's a big event, and they he kind of nails the event, and I'll give him a lot of credit. The fact that this wasn't spoiled is astonishing.
Yeah.
That they managed to do. And in fact, actually, there's a great story. They accidentally shipped DVDs early of the that you could order your DVD the full season, and they shipped them to I say it's 18 people or some number of people.
Wow.
Got these before it was broadcast.
Oh my God.
The BBC called them or somebody called them and was like, please, please, please don't ruin it for anybody. And they didn't. And Stephen Moffat was like, I still credit to those people. I think they sent them some special gift or something like that. And Stephen Moffat was just like, I still credit those people for not ruining it. So anyway, yes. So Name of the Doctor, number 19, Remembrance of the Daleks. Yeah, one of my top ones. Again, where it sits in the context of just coming out of nowhere. I think this is probably one of the first Seventh Doctor ones I actually saw. So that might actually help my impression of the Seventh Doctor. I didn't talk about this in the section, but also the novelization is excellent. Ben Aronovich novelized it. It's longer than most Doctor Who's. It kind of sets the tone for the New Adventures, which are the novels that kind of came after Doctor Who was temporarily rested after season 26. And the novelization is fantastic and adds a lot of really interesting color around some of this stuff. So I've got it at number 9. It's in my top 10. It is. It's below the 11th hour, just above Voyage's Dam, below the 11th hour. Below Inferno and the Aztecs, and a little bit above the Caves of Androzani. But yeah, it's a solid hey, Doctor Who can still do this. Even in the 25th season, they could still turn out what is definitely considered an all-time classic. And yeah, one of my favorites.
Well, when we combine these rankings together, the old supercomputer has us. We have two almost in the top 20. So we have Name of the Doctor coming in at number 16 and Remembrance of the Daleks tied for 21. So almost right in the top 20.
And Remembrance of the Daleks, no big surprises. The Great Doctor Who Survey. This is fresh off the presses. This
smell that ink drying.
It's just clear. The latest on the survey. This is the Doctor Who Survey. Rank your episodes. Blah blah blah. Remembrance of the Daleks number 1. Has been number 1 since 1998. There's not a lot of shifting.
And this is among the 7th Doctor stories.
Yeah, among the 7 Doctor stories. There's the 12 7th Doctor stories. Remembrance of the Daleks number 1. The Curse of Fenric number 2. And there's actually a little asterisk here that says "Screw you, Porter," which I don't. I don't know. I can't believe they did that. And then Survival number 3, which we haven't seen yet. But yeah, this is far and away considered the best of the 7th Doctor, and definitely high up on the just generally is considered one of the.
Well, yeah, in Wikipedia here it says that in a 50th anniversary poll, it was number 10. Of all time.
It's about right.
Pretty good. You can see these rankings on our website, mindprobe.show. And you can rank them all around. You can move things all around. You can see if you're like, I really like how John ranks these. You can then sort just by John's ranking if that's what you want.
You can do that if you want.
You can sort by my weird ranking. And you can also see which episodes are coming up and which ones we've watched. You can go to the watch order there. You can watch along with us. We'd love it. And we'd love to hear from you too. If you want to write us, John at mindprobe.show, Porter at mindprobe.show. Let us know what you think of the episodes. Or you can, reach out to us in a YouTube comment or whatever. Follow the show on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Mindprobe Show. Or just search for No Not the Mindprobe Show. We're a podcast there. Obviously, you can follow us on iTunes, Spotify, stuff like that. John, what do we have in store for next week? Again, another boring ho-hum episode.
Yeah. Hey, Porter, do you like massive mega broadcasts of Doctor Who? This the next one coming up is the 50th anniversary story. Simulcast in 94 countries at the exact same time, a world record.
It's a lot of countries. There's really only about 250 total.
Right. Yeah,
270
in most of your countries. Now, some of us, had the privilege of actually watching it in a movie theater in Leicester Square. We'll get to that.
Ooh.
But it is the 50th anniversary story, The Day of the Doctor, Matt Smith. David Tennant just coming in out of nowhere, just like, hey, what's up? I'm back. And he's which at that time was not as common as it is now. And of course, we get the John Hurt story. We fully understand what's up with him. prior to that, of course, I recommend that you watch Night of the Doctor. We'll talk
Which is
about
available
that
on YouTube.
Yep, it's YouTube. Just a quick little short, but probably one of the most significant 9-minute shorts in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So definitely worth watching. So that's going to be your newish series. So we've paired that with quite naturally the 20th anniversary story, because 3 doctors here, that's nice, but how about
Good.
5 doctors? How about
Ooh.
5 of them coming at you? Although technically only 3, a recording of one and a recast other one. So but a lot of companions, so many companions. You got the 5th Doctor, you got 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. You got Sarah, you got Susan, you got the Brigadier, you got Jamie, Zoe. I could go on for hours. You got the Master, you got Cybermen, you got Daleks, you got everything. It's the 5 Doctors, the 25th anniversary story. So we're just gonna have a grand old time. Get on your little tuxedo there, your little especially like a gala, a little Doctor Who gala coming at you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I should think so.
As you say, now it was more exciting on the 50th anniversary episode. Now I believe the British law requires David Tennant to be on most BBC shows, not just Doctor Who. David Tennant is required to be a main character.
It's his head poking up from behind a chair, and then it goes back down. Everybody's like, I saw it. It's like the Alfred Hitchcock cameo, but just David Tennant for no reason.
We were speaking last episode about Warwick Davis being in a lot of stuff. David Tennant's in Harry Potter too, although I guess most of Britain's in Harry Potter.
Yeah. I think everybody had to be in it mandatory. It was weird.
Ugh, what a sham. Mindprobe.show. Virulently anti-Harry Potter. Not true. I love Harry Potter. But I also like trans people. Oh, Mindprobe.show.